I am Maurice _ Everett.
Have you ever wanted something so bad? At night you try to sleep, your mind racing so fast. Pray that you find a way, cause any day could be last. So many came before me, they ain't get to be champ. 1 out of 27 make it, especially when you black.
What's up? I am Maurice _ Everett. Today I'll be taking you guys on a journey through my life. Show you the ins, the outs, the lefts, the rights, a lot of the stuff I went through, a lot of the influences that I had growing up that really paved the way on who I am today. Started out in Gary, Indiana, born 1987. I grew up in Lansing, Illinois, which is like a suburb, maybe about 20 minutes, 25, 30 minutes from Chicago. And I lived there between 3rd grade and sophomore year. Between that time was the time when a lot of the projects in Chicago was getting knocked down, so most of the people that lived in Chicago, they moved from Chicago to the suburbs. But I grew up with my mother, Lisa Nash, hardworking black woman. She sold insurance most of my life. Well, the first half of my life, she sold insurance. My mama made good money. I got an older sister, 7 years older than me. She grew up to be a very, she grew up to be a very hard-working young lady. She's very, can't find the proper word right now. She's successful. My sister's very successful, and she did it like the regular way, I guess, like go to school, get education, all of those things. And I don't know, man, I guess I was supposed to go that way, but I didn't. I chose a different route, and I paid for it, So that's my mother, that's my sister. My father was a Black Panther. He also was a man that wasn't about gangbanging, you know what I mean? Vietnam War when he was 17 years old. But he later became a pastor. When he became a pastor, I was probably like 5 maybe. And my family's a praying family. My mother, she prays, but my mother's stern about that shit. Like she's in the Bible. Like my mama, she's stern about that Bible, you know what I mean? Like she read the Bible a lot. My father was a pastor, but he also had his flaws, you know what I'm saying? And he would take me to church. They would pray for me and stuff like that. I had older cousins, you know what I mean? Like I had an older cousin named Spoon, who was a hustler. He would give me game all the time. They would take me everywhere with him and shit to make his moves and shit like that. And then, I also had a cousin named Link, you know what I mean? And Link was like, he was more of a cleaner cut version of Spoon, you know what I'm saying? Like Link had a record label and all of that. He wanted to get into the music. So, he would give me game about music and stuff like that as well. And Spoon would give me the street knowledge all the time, you know what I'm saying? So sophomore year, we moved back to Gary. But around this time, when my cousin Link was giving me the game about rapping and shit, I picked up the pen and I became a really good rapper. And, my mother ended up getting me my first record deal. No, my mama got me my first solo record deal. But before that, me and my cousin Martise, we got a deal with Self-Made Entertainment. Self-Made Entertainment was doing music with Kanye, who used to go by Con Man. And their leading artist name was Payroll. And Payroll, he actually just died maybe about, within the last 5 years, Payroll died. He got killed in Chicago. But, he was my influence as well, And that all started from Link, Link telling me the game about the rapping. And I picked up the pen and became a rapper. And I started doing real good. And I was running with Self-Made. And then they really just wanted us to sell their CDs and shit like that. So I did that. And then later, moved to Gary, and my very first day in school, they was beating on the tables. I started rapping, and I had the whole class going crazy. And, you know, from that point on, I was like the rapping dude, the new rapping dude. So I went through that. And around this time, you know, a kid want to get his own money, get his sneakers, get Jordans and shit like that. So I was doing that, and that got me back to the hustling. Like I said, I met Daryl before I moved to Gary, and that's when I first got my hustle up. I want to say like junior year, I ended up getting arrested at school for possession of marijuana, and I had to spend, maybe like 4 or 5 days in county LCJC, and I did that stint, and then after that I grew up. I graduated. I gave my mom a graduation, but I was rapping so much, I'm like, I'm gonna become a famous rapper. And like I said, it all came from influence. So with me rapping, you know, the guys around me started rapping and stuff like that, and that's what we were doing. And then after that, you fast forward, I moved to Indianapolis, Indiana, and I started working at a blood bank. I was actually a phlebotomist. And this was around the time when I was really trying to figure out who I was. Living alone, I had a new car, a new crib, dating different women, you know, doing that type of thing, and still was a hustler. That happened, and then after that, I ended up moving to Atlanta, Georgia, Marietta, Georgia to be exact, and that's when I picked up the hustling again. I honestly can't say I don't think I ever lost the hustle, ever. I was just hustling the wrong things. So, you know, I get down there to Atlanta, and I'm going to be a rapper, so I met a bunch of, like, music guys such as like Ray Shrimmer, No Flex Zone guys, Mike Will Made It, different producers like that, just meeting different people from all over who do music, because that's why I was there. I was there for the music. Me and my homie, and I go to get in the shower, and as soon as I put my head in the water, I hear gunshots throughout the house. So I hop on the floor, I'm ass naked, and, you know, I'm hanging up against the door, trying not to let nothing hit me, but I took over this whole apartment complex just selling drugs, and there's bullets flying through the door, and I'm like at the bottom of the door holding it. And after that, you know, I finally got the strength to open the door. When I opened the door, my best friend was right there dead, and you know, so when the police came, I did the whole first 48 thing, and after that, I ended up going to the precinct, and then the next morning, my mama was calling me. She lived in Atlanta at the time with me, not with me, but she lived there, and she like, son, you should have been a preacher by now. I'm like, I know, mama. She like, your ass need to go to the Army. I'm like, you right, I need to go to the Army. She like, you need to go back to Gary. I'm like, yeah, you right, I need to go back to Gary. So I was like indecisive, you know what I mean? And that shit really was, it really got to me to see a dead body, to see my friend get murdered like that, and you know, that shit really got to me. And the next day, I came back on the bus to Gary, to my father's house. And you know, my father was a pastor at the time, and he let me live in his house. And then I had an uncle who was a hustler. So with me putting in these applications from being from Gary, it's like I felt like nobody would call me back, or nobody really did call me back. I went through that phase, and then one day, I was up for like 2-3 days, just moving, shaking, making my money. I fall asleep at the light with an 8-ball of crack in my hand, and when I wake up, it was police in the car with me. And I hustled that whole weekend. I saved up about $5,000, and when I get to the precinct, they say, yeah, you locked up and your bail is $50,000. I almost died, man. And when he told me it was $50,000, I didn't know nothing about the 10%, which turned out to be $5,000. And like I said, over that weekend, I saved $5,000. And I believe at this time, this was probably the first time I stopped being a follower, you know what I mean? And really stopped being influenced and started to become an influence, you know? So when I bought my camera, I said, I'm gonna be Tyler Perry in my neighborhood. And I just started writing. And I just started, you know, going around doing interviews with different people and asking them questions, different rappers, different singers, asking questions. And then eventually the name came to me, which is Dream Rich TV, Dream Rich LLC, Dream Rich Radio, all of these different things that I do now. It eventually came to me. And so I went and got my LLC, Dream Rich. So now we got Dream Rich TV, Dream Rich Radio. And like I said, around 25, 26, the influence fell off. And actually, my birthday is in the morning, and I turned 34. So I started doing that for like a year and a half, and then that turned into the previous jobs that I've had in life, because I've done a lot of stuff. I worked a lot of places too. Wife and my daughter, and started being a man of the house, and started that influence that I was following just fell off me, and I became an influence. And I believe my daughter got a lot to do with that, because I know she want to do everything to make me happy, or she want to do any and everything I do. So I had to change up, like my surroundings, the people I was hanging out with, the things I was doing, the phone calls I was getting, the 2-3 phones, all that crazy stuff. I had to change up, because she started asking questions, and then she's not blind to it. So from that point, I started doing my interviews, and then I did a bunch of interviews in the area at these clubs, at the clubs in Gary, Indiana. I always go out with my camera and do interviews there. And I was like, I guess I need to go check out Illinois Media School. So the very next day, I called Miss Rainey down there at the Illinois Media School, and she like, come meet me, man. Come to the campus. And I came to the campus, and I instantly fell in love with that. Like I was already doing my own thing, but it's like it really was solidifying everything I was doing for the last year and a half already before I got in school for it. So it really just like it pushed me to go to the next level with it. And at the time I was feeling like kind of smothered from my city, Gary, Indiana, because it's so small to me, and I've hit everywhere. I've interviewed a lot of people. I just felt like it was time to go to the next level. And when I went to school, it really opened the doors for me to go to the next level. This is my documentary. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if I have any last words for you guys, it is to continue to believe in yourself, continue to love each other, continue to push the boundaries, continue to dream rich, man. Never stop, never quit. Rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle. Rest in peace to all my fallen soldiers and all my brothers and sisters that I've lost. And rest in peace to the ones you lost as well. Never give up on your dreams. Always dream rich. And you will succeed. Thank you so much for your time.
Y'all wanted to play basketball. Y'all had hoop dreams. Yeah. Have you ever wanted something so bad? At night you try to sleep, your mind racing so fast. Pray that you find a way, cause any day could be last. So many came before me, they ain't get to be champ. 1 out of 27 make it, especially when you black. Dreaming, I put them hours on the court, then I can see a fortune. My mom's a house, but I cannot forget what's important. Ain't got the grades, can't play. Academics more important than the game. 1 jump shot away, and 1 straight bullet away from my grave. Sophomore year is where it all changed, and that dream start to slip. Like, did Michael Jordan really go through this? I know I'd be a disappointment if I quit. I just wanna be legend. Larry, Michael, and Magic. Irvin, Barkley, and Patrick. Kobe, LeBron, Allen Iverson fashion. Steph Curry with the 30. I ain't talking about baskets. Every kid from the ghetto wanna be NBA legend.